Hello, welcome everyone to round 3 of the ReachOut Science Slam semifinals. Before we get started, if you would like to access captions for this event, you can find a link to live captions in the YouTube description below. And there's also a QR code here on the screen right now that you can use to access those captions. Okay, well, welcome again to the ReachOut Science Slam semifinals. Welcome back if you have been following along with all of the events. I am Megan from the Museum of Science. My pronouns are she and her, and I am delighted to be your host tonight. Now, these events are part of the ReachOut Science Communication Challenge, a Museum of Science program designed to train scientists to share their work with public audiences and then put that training to the test through some friendly competition here at the ReachOut Science Slams. Now, at each of our 3 semifinals events, 2 slammers are selected to move on to the big finals event on May 4th and compete for our top prizes. Now, in round 1, back on April 6th, Jolene de Lima from the Beacon Center for the Study of Evolution and Action was our audience pick, and Giska Ramadita from the Center for Engineering Mechanobiology was our judges pick. Our round 2 winners from April 13th were Megan Chong from the Center for Cellular Construction, who was our audience choice winner, and Sabrina Alcasis from the Center for Dark Energy Biosphere Investigations. She was our judges pick. So congrats to Jolene, Giska, Megan, and Sabrina. We will see them again at the finals on May 4th. All right, now tonight, our last group of semifinalists will compete for the final 2 spots in the ReachOut Science Slam finals, and one of them will be selected by you, our audience. So stick around and we will tell you how to vote for your favorite Science Slammer towards the end of the program. Now, the other finalists tonight will be chosen by our outstanding panel of expert judges. Joining our judging panel for this semifinal round, we have 3 outstanding leaders in science communication who are here to lend their expertise and mentor our slammers tonight. Jorge Cham is the creator of the webcomic Piled Higher and Deeper, or PhD Comics, and he's co-creator of the PBS show Eleanor Wonders Why. Raven Baxter, also known as Raven the Science Maven, is a molecular biologist, expert science communicator, and has been featured in Fortune magazine's 40 Under 40 list for 2020. And to round out our judging panel, Emily Calandrelli is an aerospace engineer turned science communicator, Emmy nominee, and host of the Netflix show Emily's Wonder Lab. Welcome to all of our judges. All right, welcome Raven, Emily, and Jorge. We are so excited to have you all here. So are you ready to hear from our last round of semi-finalist slammers before we move on to the big finals event?
Oh yeah. The first one that we watched was so good, and I have faith that this one's going to be just as amazing. This has been really, really fun to be part of.
Awesome. Great. Jorge and Raven, are you ready?
I'm nervous. I know that we're getting down to the wire and it's going to be so hard to pick a winner because they just keep getting better and better every time we meet. So I'm looking forward to seeing some amazing work today.
Great.
Yeah, I am with Raven. I'm excited and a little scared. It's a tough spot to be in as judges for all of these awesome presentations. But I'm ready to be slammed, so slam away.
All right, well, let's do it. I'm sure everyone at home is excited to see our slammers too, so let's meet them. Our ReachOut Science Slammers come from all over the country and are each part of one of the 12 National Science Foundation Science and Technology Centers. These are interdisciplinary research centers, which means a bunch of different kinds of scientists come together to discover something new about the world or solve some big challenges. They're working on all sorts of areas like microbiology, artificial intelligence, evolution, quantum physics, cell biology, computer science, and more. All right, today's slammers come from 3 different centers: We have two slammers representing the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines, which is dedicated to the study of intelligence, how the brain produces intelligent behavior, and how we may be able to replicate intelligence in machines. From CBMM, please welcome Jared and Mungmi. All right, next we have three slammers from the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials, which studies new quantum materials with extraordinary properties that could help bring about new communication systems and maybe new powerful computers. From Sequum, please welcome Alua Kanyensola, Christina, and Ben. And finally, we have one slammer from the Center for Emergent Behaviors of Integrated Cellular Systems, which is working to create a new scientific discipline for building living multicellular machines that solve real-world problems in health, security, and the environment. From EBIX, please welcome Catherine. All right, well, welcome to all of our slammers. We are all very excited to hear from you. Now, if you at home would like to cheer on our slammers, you can send a comment at any time by going to pollev.com/Museum of Science, or you can text Museum of Science to 22333 and then send your comment. And we'll keep that information handy on the screen for you. But note that right now we are just taking some comments to cheer on our slammers, so don't cast your votes just yet. We'll let you know when the audience voting opens a little later in the show. All right, now let's get started with our first slammer of the evening. Our first Science Slam contender is Jared Hicks, who is joining us from MIT, where he is a student connected to the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines. Welcome, Jared.
Before I start, I just wanted to warn you that by the end of this presentation, you'll never perceive the world, or at least a little part of it, the same way again. So if you're okay with that, then I hope you keep listening. Each and every day, we use our senses to interact with and understand the world around us. At any given moment, including right now, our brains are flooded with sensory information. But most of the time, we don't really even pay attention to this process of perception. We're just able to effortlessly perceive our surroundings without a second thought. So while our everyday experience suggests that perception is a simple and passive process, it's actually deceptively difficult. And the reason why perception is so difficult is because it requires solving what's called an ill-posed problem. This just means that the sensory information you receive isn't enough to uniquely specify what's out in the world. Take this shadow, for example. This is the input that your visual system sends to your brain, and then it's your brain's job to decide or infer what object in the world would create this shadow. But because the shadow is a two-dimensional projection of a three-dimensional object, there are infinitely many objects that can cast this shadow. For example, what you might perceive as the shadow of a bird is actually the shadow cast by a roll of toilet paper. And all of perception is like this. Perceiving the world requires your brain to essentially make an educated guess as to what's out there. And the only way that your brain can make a good guess is by using its knowledge of the world to arrive at the most likely interpretation. And so the consequence of this is that perception is an active process that depends on your experience. This is why some people perceive this dress as blue and black and others perceive the exact same dress as white and gold. Similarly, it's why some people hear this sound, laurel, as the word Yanny, while others hear laurel. These differences in perception highlight the fact that people have different experiences and they make different assumptions about the world. But it turns out that even our own perceptions can change from one moment to the next as we gain new experiences or we learn something new. Take, for example, this sound. It probably sounds very strange and unfamiliar. Well, remember that warning from the beginning? In just a moment, I'm going to give you a new experience. And after this experience, you'll never perceive this sound the same way again. So let's listen to it one more time and really take in this moment because it's something you'll never get back. This sound is something called sine wave speech. And what you're hearing is essentially a degraded sound of someone saying,
"The floor was quite slippery."
And now that you know this, your brain's been permanently changed and you won't be able to unhear it. So before you hear that sound again, I just want to emphasize that this is the exact same sound from before, but now you're going to perceive it completely differently. So I hope that I not only change your perception of this particular sound, but also your view of perception in general. Perception is an active process that requires your brain to solve a remarkably difficult problem. And your brain can only do so because it relies on knowledge of the world that's learned through your experiences. There's a great diversity of people in the world who've each had a great diversity of experiences. And this leads each of us to perceive and interact with the world differently in a way that's uniquely ours. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it from Jared, for Jared from the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines. Thank you, Jared. Great job. And now let's check in with our judges. So, Jorge, let's start with you. What did you think?
Well, first of all, I think the dress is blue and black. That's my opinion. I think that should be the final word. But no, I thought you did great, Jared. You were really engaging. I thought you were, very casual, very relaxed, and I like how you sort of started with that funny sort of warning about that you sort of spoke directly to the audience. That really captures our attention. I like that your voice is very clear and you really modulated it depending on the difficult, if it was a sort of a difficult word or not. I like that modulation. And overall, I like the sort of the creativity of having sort of things popping around you. You seem very comfortable with that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I practiced a lot to make it kind of jive.
Great. Raven, what did you think?
I want to hear it like 3 more times. There was so much there, and I was so like into the experiences, as you called them, that you were giving to the audience. It did feel like an experience, and I felt like it was just a very rich presentation and well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Great. Emily, how about you?
Yeah, I especially loved the toilet paper one. The other ones I'd seen, but that one was a really unique one I hadn't seen before. And I feel like that was such a striking example of the exact point you were trying to make. And that's sometimes the hardest thing with science communication, is that these analogies and these examples are so important to help drive a larger, maybe more complex concept home, and finding the ones that work really well is so important. And you really did that.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Well, thank you to our judges. And great job, Jared. Thank you again. Now let's take a look at Slammer number 2. Next up, we have Alua Kanyensola Adebayo, a student at Howard University and part of the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials. Take it away, Alua Kanyensola.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the T-Shaw Project. My name is Alua Kanyensola Adebayo. Have you ever wanted to shrink something or someone really badly before? Well, I have. Behind me, I have the SR6 Shrink Ray 6, owned by Vector himself from the Despicable Me movie. An awesome movie, by the way. The SR6 is a laser weapon that shrinks its target temporarily with an energy ring. Frankly, it's a weapon no one should own, but behold is a demonstration of the SR6 shrinking an elephant. Poor elephant. So, now I don't own the shrink ray, nor did I make one. Sorry to disappoint. However, I did make a mini lab called the T-Shaw. T-Shaw stands for Thermal Sciences Hands-on Learning Project. What T-Shaw does is that it provides a way for people, regardless of location, to have access to thermal and fluid labs. Think this to this. Yes, that's how small the lab is. Does that seem too good to be true? Well, it's very possible. I have a real life example with me here. I have a laptop, a work laptop that I use often, that's way bigger than my head. And I have my baby sister's laptop that I stole from her room. That's the size of my hand. It's very pink, by the way. However, how is this even made possible? Easy. First of all, we got rid of all the unnecessary stuff. We sat down and analyzed all of the things that were really important. What could we live without, and what did we absolutely need? Lastly, we combined certain things to work as one. This way, we could cut down on all the different parts. So why even bother? Why is T-Shaw even important? Well, I'll tell you why. First of all, well, thanks to someone, we are now all sitting at home and working on our computers 24/7. Everything was virtual, including education and even lab experiments. However, hands-on learning is still very important. Without TESOL, students are able to carry out the most basic of experiments at home and at a cheap price too. Secondly, unfortunately, not everyone has access to fancy education and cool apps. Personally, I am from Lagos, Nigeria, a country in Africa. However, TESOL provides a way for students all over the world, regardless of location, to carry out simple but advanced experiments in the homes and classrooms. Because TESOL is so small compared to a huge lab, it saves a lot of space for classrooms that are only so big. You can carry your TESOL home and even carry out experiments from your bedroom. Don't worry, moms, it's perfectly safe. So why are lab experiments important? I'm sure you all love science projects. I do too. They're fun, they're exciting, and you never really know what will happen. Many people support these hands-on projects, and research shows that with this, you as a student is able to do better and even become smarter. It really makes you able to think critically and find creative solutions to things. So this is what TESOL looks like. At the moment, this laptop is next to TESOL. You can see how small it is in size comparison. This way, we'll be able to make sure everything works perfectly by testing it over and over again, and then sending out to different countries and people in different locations to be able to carry out the basics of science experiments. I promise you, it's a pretty cool device. Thank you so much for listening.
All right, let's hear it for Alua Kanyensola from the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials. Thank you so much. Nice job. And now our judges are back as well, so let's see what they thought. So Raven, can you start us off this time?
I felt like I was watching a movie the whole time. You had me hooked. I was on the edge of my seat, wondering what you were going to say next. You had me at shrink ray. That was a great way to start. And I love the community aspect of it and tying science to the community in ways that we can make it more accessible. I would love to hear more people speak on that. So thank you for bringing that into your conversation.
Great.
Yeah.
How about you?
I agree. I love anytime anybody's leveraging cartoons, especially ones that a lot of people have seen. I feel like that makes it so relatable. And like Raven said, connecting it to the community and appealing to your viewers' empathy, that's also going to make the story really compelling. So you did a good job with that.
Great. Jorge, how about you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I really liked your connection with the audience. You know, you sort of seemed like you were having fun, which made it really fun for us to watch you talk about it. And also, you know, bringing in, like Raven said, yours and Emily said, your personal connection to and your personal story to the research was really compelling. And just overall, I thought your story was really clear. Like you were, after that fun bit with shrink ray, you know, you were very clear about what it is specifically that you were doing and why that was important and how that was going to be used and why that was important. So I thought that was that sort of being specific about it and very clear about each step was really good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, judges. And awesome job, Kanyensola. Thank you. Now we're going to move on to Slammer number 3. Our next slammer is Christina McGann, representing the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials, and she is a postdoctoral fellow at Mount Holyoke College. Over to you, Christina.
Imagine that you are driving your car or pedaling your bike down the road. The sun is shining and it's a warm day. But up ahead, you see it. A big pothole. You have to slow down so you don't damage your car or hurt yourself on your bike. In my research, I fix potholes. Just not the ones in the road. I fix electrical potholes. This electrical equivalent of potholes in materials make electricity move slowly through the material at certain spots, which makes electrical devices made of these materials, like phones and computers, not work well. We can see potholes in the road, but we can't see these electrical potholes with our eyes or with a light microscope because they are 10 times smaller than the thickness of a single strand of your hair, or even smaller than that. So we need something that can sense smaller objects. But how can we figure out information about an object, like this mask, if we can't see it with our eyes? We can touch it with our finger to figure out how rough it is or how it's shaped. What I use in my work, that's me, is an atomic force microscope, which has a tiny finger, 1,000 times smaller than the thickness of a strand of your hair. So that's 100 times smaller than one of our potholes. This tiny finger can measure things like roughness and shape, but also things that our finger can't measure, like how electricity is moving through a material. I use this tiny finger to find electrical potholes that make electricity move slowly in plastics and in two-dimensional materials that are like sheets, which are a single atom thick, so super thin. Once I find these electrical potholes, I can figure out why they're forming in the material, and from there, how to get rid of them. In my work, I bake the plastic by heating it up in an oven to cover the material free of electrical potholes, and electricity can move faster through the material. With my improved materials, scientists can make better devices like phones and computers, and even better solar cells that take more light from the sun and turn it into electricity. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Christina from the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials. Thank you, Christina. And now we'll check back in with our judges. So Emily, let's start with you this time. What did you think?
I loved how you intentionally froze your computer to just add to the storytelling. I thought that was really clever. I loved all of your props. Your props were so great and your energy was great. You described the problem, how you assessed the problem, how you solved the problem, and then why it was important to solve the problem. You went strictly by the book with all of the important things you're supposed to add to a story. And I felt like I understood the whole thing and I loved it. So you did a very, very good job.
Thank you so much.
Great. Raven, how about you? What are you thinking?
That was great. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Gosh, I really enjoyed it. That's the message here. I truly did enjoy that. I would love to hear you talk about other things. What else do you know? Sign me up. I want to come watch you speak again. Good job.
I'm glad to hear it.
Great. Jorge, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I agree. It was very engaging. You have a nice big smile. That was very fun to watch. And also, I just found the whole presentation just very surprising. Pull up these props suddenly, or you pop things out of it. It was just very I'm just kind of sitting here wondering what's going to happen next, and that sort of effort into engaging the audience and making it interesting and surprising, I think is great.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you to our judges. And thank you again, Christina. Nice job. And now let's hear from Slammer number 4. Heading into the second half of our slams this evening, Mungmi Zhong is our next contestant, and she is a postdoctoral fellow joining us from Harvard University, and she's affiliated with the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines. Welcome, Mungmi.
Hello, everyone, my name is Mungmi. I'm from CBMM. Today, my story begins with a Wordle finding game and ends with the idea that we could teach computer to search. Without further ado, let's get the game started. Here are a group of soldiers. This guy named Wordle is hiding somewhere in the crowd. Can you find where he is? Looking for Wordle is very challenging, but eventually, we managed to find him. He's right here. Next, let's see what is it in human brain that enables us to look for Wordle fast. Let me explain this concept with a simple exercise. First, I want you to look at this man very carefully. Now, I'm going to ask you whether this man is scared, and the answer is yes, he is. But what about this question? How many people are there in the hut? I bet most of you cannot answer this question correctly. That is because visual attention enables us to focus on what we are attending to and filters out the irrelevant information in its surroundings. Next, let's see how visual attention works in human brain. Our brain cell has a special name called a neuron. There are billions of neurons in human brain. They are interconnected with one another to transmit information. Each of these individual neurons has different preferences. They only allow their own preferred information to pass through while eliminating the rest. While we are paying our attention to search for Wordle, there is a attention mechanism in human brain that enables us to activate those Wordle relevant neurons while deactivating the rest. By doing so, our brain only allows the Wordle relevant information to pass through. Therefore, we could quickly find where Wordle is. Isn't this great? Inspired by how visual attention guides Wordle search in human brain, one solution to teach computers to search for Wordle is by replacing those real neurons with artificial neurons. Similar as humans, in order to find where Wordle is, computers can then use visual attention to activate certain groups of artificial neurons. Up to now, you might realize that teaching computers to search for Wordle is not a trivial task. That is because we had to design large quantities of artificial neurons, and we had to decide when and which groups of artificial neurons to activate. Not to mention, we had to teach computers to solve real-world problems, such as find victims in natural disasters or look for tumors in medical imaging. That is one of the reasons why we are working hard in our lab these days in order to understand how our brain learns to search, and hope that one day we could transfer this knowledge and teach computers to search as fast as we do. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Mungmi from the Center for Brains, Minds, and Machines. Thank you, Mungmi. Nice job. And now let's hear from our judges again, and we'll start with you this time, Jorge. Any thoughts to share?
Yeah, I thought that was great. You know, as a cartoonist and animator, I thought that the visuals were really impressive and fun and engaging and surprising. That was really cute. And you know, kudos to putting the effort into that and making it visually engaging for visually oriented people like myself. And I just generally love the creativity. I love that you're wearing a Waldo shirt and hat. I mean, I think that shows real commitment and, you know, just going all in, I think is really another big key in science communication. You know, don't be afraid of what people will think and really just put yourself out there. I think that's great.
Great, thank you, Jorge. Emily, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, again, wearing the Waldo outfit, so good. I mean, I think as science communicators, we're just trying to find new ways to stay memorable, to create content that people can remember later on, because it's so easy to like create something and people are like, oh, that's interesting. And then a day later, them completely forget what we taught them. And the little things like that make it even more memorable. And so kudos to you for, again, going the extra mile, like Jorge said, and love the cartoons. I can't imagine how much time that took. So good job with that.
Great. Raven, how about you?
I love the cartoons. I love visuals and being able to watch things happen as you're describing them. And as somebody who also loves fashion, when you started your talk, I'm like, wow, her outfit looks really familiar. And then I realized, oh, that's the Where's Waldo outfit. And then you started talking about Where's Waldo, and I was just like really engaged in the whole presentation the whole time. So thanks for making it so engaging for us.
Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, judges. And thank you again, Mungmi. Nice job. Now let's take a look at Slammer number 5. Next up, we have Benjamin Pingo representing the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials, and he is a postdoctoral fellow at Harvard University. Take it away, Benjamin.
Hello, everyone. Computers are everywhere these days. They help us process information and solve complicated problems always more efficiently. So there's the big drive to make them even better. And one way of doing that is actually to harness the spooky rules of quantum mechanics, the set of physical laws that rule over the world of tiny objects like atoms and electrons. But what if I told you that this computer, using quantum mechanics, could actually solve in a few seconds a problem that would take tens of thousands of years to solve for the best computers? Now, what if I told you that this computer could be made of diamond? Let me tell you. So I'm going to shrink slowly to the size of a single atom, and I'm going to jump into the diamond, surrounded by carbon atoms all around me. They all make up the diamond. But I'm not a carbon atom. I'm a tiny impurity. I'm a different atom, and I'm special. I've got a tiny magnet with me. And this tiny magnet can be pointing up or pointing down. And this way, it could be used to store information. This is like a 0. This is like a 1, like today's computers, the way they process information. But as I said, it's a special magnet. It's a quantum magnet. So it can be up, like 0. It can be down, like 1, or it can be both at the same time, 0 and 1. This is a spooky rule of quantum mechanics. Things can be in several states at the same time. So now, why is that interesting? Why is that helpful for us? Well, just take a standard computer program. You want to know what it does. So you need to feed it an input, and you look at the output. So with a normal system, you feed 0, so up, and you look at the output. Then you look at the other possibility, 1 or down, you feed it into the machine, and you look at the output. So it takes 2 steps. Now, with the quantum magnet, I feed it only once, because it's both at the same time already. And I've just sped up the whole process. So if you've got 50 inputs, instead of doing it 50 times, you just do it once, 50 at the same time. So you go much faster. But the problem is, as a tiny atom myself, I can't do it all on my own. I need to be able to transfer information to other of those similar atoms like me. And oh, look, there's another one. How can I communicate with it? It's too far. Well, I can actually use light, and I'm sending information to it. And all together, we can process information using quantum mechanics and making it much faster. And because diamond is transparent, the light can just go through, and we can just crack all these codes. And to conclude, this is why diamond is just like people. It's their defects that makes them interesting.
All right, let's hear it for Ben from the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials. Thank you, Ben. Well done. And here are our judges with us again. So let's find out what they're thinking. And Raven, let's start with you this time. What are you thinking?
Again, the visuals. You guys are really bringing it to us today. I love the interactions that you were having with the environment around you and how you actually put yourself into what you were communicating about and keeping us focused in on the graphics and what you're trying to convey. I learned a lot. That's very interesting work that you're describing, and definitely intrigued me enough to want to do a quick Google search after this event. So well done. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Jorge, what are you thinking?
I both liked it and liked it a lot at the same time.
Nice.
Very, just super impressed the whole time. You were very excited, and that excitement really came through. You were very animated. You were using your hands. That was really something really great and engaging. And like Raven said, just this presentation idea of putting yourself into the material and making yourself the atom, and that really helped connect with the material. But also it's just really interesting. I hadn't seen that before. So kudos on this real time sort of moving yourself around and shrinking yourself. I thought it was really, as someone who's made a lot of quantum mechanics videos, I was really impressed.
Thanks a lot.
Great, thanks. And Emily, how about you?
Yeah, it was just joyful. The way that you presented it, it felt like you were telling a story. I was sitting down and we were in circle time and you were reading us a story. And it's not, when we write these things, it's not just about the words that you write, it's how you deliver them. And it was very clear that you practiced on the best way to deliver and when to pause and when to kind of lower your voice. And all of that really came through. You did a good job with that.
Thank you so much.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much, judges. And thank you again, Ben. Great job. And now it's time to take a look at our final slam of the evening. And last, but not at all least, is Catherine Sullivan, a student at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and she's affiliated with the Center for Emergent Behaviors of Integrated Cellular Systems. Over to you, Catherine.
Hello, my name is Katie, and I'd like to talk about the zebrafish, or as I call them, Danio. Many of you know of the zebrafish as the glowfish. They come in a variety of colors at the pet store and are in many home aquariums. Has your fish ever died unexpectedly? It's probably because of poor water quality. Poor water quality causes illnesses in humans too. Think of bacteria, which causes red tides at the beach after a big rainstorm. The bacteria even makes the ocean turn red or glow in the dark. There are also other tiny things in the water which can harm fish and humans, like microplastics and waste chemicals. So how does the zebrafish relate to human health? Did you know that the zebrafish and human livers share 80% of their genes? This means that the zebrafish isn't too different from us. The liver is the gatekeeper between the outside world and our bodies. It actively filters the blood to keep us healthy and produces chemicals to help with digesting food. I take zebrafish liver cells and grow them into mini livers in a little plastic dish that's about the size of a quarter. All with the goal of testing how effective they are at clearing environmental toxins like chemicals and microplastics. Then I can understand how water pollutants will affect us, humans, if we were to drink them in our water. So why is this important? Well, some water pollutants cannot be broken down into human or fish-safe forms. That means there's a buildup of these harmful chemicals which cannot be filtered out. Secondly, if we drink this contaminated water and the toxins reach our cells, then we might experience illness or disease, especially in the liver. And this greatly impacts our ability to not only filter out other harmful chemicals, but also to break down fats and sugars in the foods we eat. Zebrafish are already known to scientists as an indicator of water quality out in the wild. My research turns their innate function as water quality indicators into a lab test, which can be used to test many pollutants all at once. By using these artificially grown livers, we can better understand how water contaminants affect human health, as well as allow zebrafish the chance to enjoy the good life in home aquariums. Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Catherine from the Center for Emergent Behaviors of Integrated Cellular Systems. Thank you, Catherine. Nice job. And now we'll see what the judges are thinking again. So, Emily, we'll start with you this time. What are you thinking?
It was so good. You described it so clearly. I felt like I had a really good understanding of the story from beginning to end. There were so many human elements in there, from fish that humans who often have fish as pets probably know or have seen, and then connecting it to human health. I feel like you did such a good job there. I also love that you brought the dish, the Petri dish that you use, because you could have easily just, put up a picture of it and had like a hand in there for scale or whatever, but having it physically to show us felt like it made it more real and memorable. So little things like that. But yeah, you did a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Raven, any thoughts to share?
I just loved your demonstration of like your comfort with your knowledge and expertise in what you're saying. I never felt like you weren't confident. Everything's very clearly stated, and I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great, Jorge, how about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the highlights for me were, you were very clear and calm, and it was very well paced, and everything was just like Emily said, just a very clear story where you talked about the general problem and kind of what the issues were, and then you shifted to what you were doing. I think that's really important to sort of define that story. And it was just a really colorful and stylish presentation. So the visuals, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great. Well, thank you again, judges. And thank you, Catherine. Great job. And great job to all of our slammers tonight. Now, to all of our judges, any comments before you go off to deliberate? So, Jorge, let's go back to you. How are you feeling?
This is the tough part. I think everyone did amazing and clearly put in a lot of effort and practice and thought about how to engage audiences. That's the inspiring part, I think, is to see such a great level of expertise in science communications from everyone. But also the hard part, which is that how we're going to pick just the one person.
Yeah, definitely. Raven, how are you feeling before you go off to deliberate?
I'm excited to go back and talk to the other judges about how cool everyone's presentation was today. And as Jorge said, it's going to be so difficult to choose a winner, but in my eyes, everyone did a great job. You can all be proud of yourselves today.
Wonderful. Yeah, they definitely did. Emily, any thoughts before you go off to your secret deliberation room?
I want to get all of you all on TikTok to continue telling science stories, because you are good at this. I hope that you walk away from this experience knowing that you're good at this thing that we call science communication, and I'd like to see more of it from you. So whatever the results of this, I hope that you continue to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, judges. And now it is time to go off to your deliberation room. So we will see you soon. Thank you. Definitely a tough decision ahead of our judges. And those of you at home might be wondering how the judges are evaluating our slammers tonight. So we asked them to consider 4 different judging criteria as they select their favorite slam to move on to the finals. And those are scientific content, creativity, clarity, and one more very important element, their connection to the audience. So you. All right, well, now we're bringing back our slammers. You all did such an incredible job. And our judges are not going to have an easy time in there deciding. And I would love to hear your thoughts before the audience voting begins. So how are you all feeling now that you've finally been able to share your slams that you've been working so hard on with our audience? What are you all thinking? Anything to share?
It was so fun to hear all of the rest of your stories as well. and see all of the neat strategies that you all use. Very inspiring for me to pull as well.
Wonderful. Any other thoughts before we launch the audience voting? All right.
Yeah, people should just keep in mind that science is fun first, then it's hard work, but fun first.
Yes, very well said. Science is fun, and we're having a ton of fun with it here tonight. Thanks to all of you. Thank you so much. All right, so now we're going to move on to the audience voting. So here we go. Now it's your turn. To vote for your favorite science slammer, go to pollev.com/Museum of Science. That's POLLEV.com/Museum of Science, and select their name from the options there. Or if you'd rather vote by text message, text Museum of Science to 22333 and then send us the number on the screen next to your favorite slammer. Those numbers are 1 for Jared, 2 for Alua Kanyensola, 3 for Christina, 4 for Mungmi, 5 for Benjamin, and 6 for Catherine. The clock is counting down from 5 minutes, so make sure to get those votes in. And while the voting is going on, we'll be showing some of the comments that are coming in from our audience to cheer on our slammers. Two minutes to go on the clock. Keep those votes coming. You can vote online by going to the web address on the screen, pollev.com/Museum of Science, or you can text Museum of Science to 22333 and send us the number next to your favorite slammer. Those numbers, one more time, are 1 for Jared, 2 for Alua Kanyensola, 3 for Christina, 4 for Mungmi, 5 for Benjamin, and 6 for Catherine. Just one more minute to vote. And we are done. Let's tally up those votes. All right, audience voting has now ended, and we are ready to announce our audience choice winner. Is everybody ready? The winner is Christina. You will be advancing to the finals on May 4th. Congratulations. Fantastic job. I'm going to give Christina a minute to come on screen and join me. Where is she? There she is. There she is. Hi, Christina. Congratulations. So how are you feeling? Tell me, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, feeling great. It was, like I said, it was so much fun to hear everyone's story, and it's excited that I'll get to share my story a bit more in the finals too.
Yeah, we are super excited about that too. Thank you. So tell me, what inspired you to enter the ReachOut Slams?
Yeah, so I got an email from my center about participating in these science communication workshops. So I decided to attend, and I had so much fun that I chose to enter this competition and share one of the science stories I'd been working on.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
So much fun. I think you might have been one of the people who sent me the emails, actually.
I probably was, yeah. So for our audience at home, many of these slammers participated in science communication training workshops before they did these slams. So this has been a whole process for them. So this is great. Thank you, Christina. And so can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea for your slam? Where did that come from?
Certainly. So in my current postdoctoral research, I work on atomic force microscopy, and I'm in Western Massachusetts. So after the snow and cold weather, we definitely have a lot of potholes on the road that I've had to dodge in my car on a regular basis. So it just kind of clicked that would be a great analogy to describe these defects in materials.
Yeah, that was a really clever analogy. It really kind of made it click for me how you were talking about those like imperfections in these materials and how you can kind of fill them in and make things work better. It's so cool. And also the fact that those atomic force microscopes can see things that are so tiny is really incredible. You did a nice job of explaining that as well. So I think we're still waiting for our judges to come back to announce our other finalists. Oh, and here they come. All right. We have Emily and Jorge, and there's Raven. All right. So now we have welcome. Oh, did we lose someone? Nope, we're all here. Wonderful. Okay. So now, hello, judges. How did it go? You're back.
We guessed correctly in that you all would make this hard for us. So congratulations.
It's never easy, is it? It gets harder every week. All right, well, each week we have selected a different judge to be our spokesperson and announce the winner. And so this week it is Jorge. So Jorge, as our spokesperson for the judges, do you have any comments before you make your big announcement?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it was a really tough decision, but I think all three of us definitely agree that all of you were really fantastic, and really the level of effort and thought that went into your science communication was really great. We were saying, like, if we had entered this competition when we were starting out, I think you would have blown at least me away out of the water for sure. You would have definitely. I don't think I was at that level starting out. So it's really impressive, and kudos to everyone. Yeah. And so we talked a lot. Emily was saying how she really thought it was great that there were so many different styles of communication in all of you, each of you sort of, which is really great, because as she said, there's a broad audience out there. There's a very diverse audience out there. And to communicate science, we need a broad number of styles and different stories, definitely, to tell. So everyone brought their A game. But unfortunately, we had to pick one person. And so our judge's pick was... Ben.
Wonderful. All right. Congratulations, Ben.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, already he's joined us. Congratulations. So how are you feeling, Ben? What are you thinking?
That's great. I mean, yeah, that's, I don't know, that just feels weird. I think the most fun part is just doing it. And if that can, like, if people can get excited too, that's the most important. So I'm really glad that maybe I helped a little bit with that.
Great. Well, you certainly did. Thank you, Ben, and congratulations. So congratulations to Christina and Ben. So you will each advance to the ReachOut Finals on May 4th with the chance to win our $1,000 grand prizes. And you will also be awarded a $250 stipend to continue improving your entries. But congratulations to all of our slammers who presented tonight. You all did an absolutely amazing job. And you will all be receiving $150 stipends to thank you for working so hard to share your science with all of us. So please, everyone, join me in thanking and congratulating all of our amazing slammers today. Thanks to all of them for giving us some insight into their fascinating fields of science. You know, tonight we got to learn about building and using new atomic scale materials, a cool way to give students access to mini physics labs. We learned about our own perception of sights and sounds and how learning about how our brains process information can help us maybe build smarter computers, and even how a tiny fish is helping us make big advances in human health. Just amazing. So thank you also again to our absolutely fabulous panel of expert judges who have again generously shared their experience communicating science across the country, across the world, online, and on TV. So I will give them all a chance to say goodbye. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, everybody, and congrats again. You were all really impressive, and you are all really good at this, as they're talking about in the judges' room. You guys are really good at this.
Yeah, like Jorge said, if we were to do this when we were first starting off, I don't know if we would have done well in this competition. And so the fact that you're starting off at this level, it will just continue to build. It's one of those things where it's like a 10,000 hour skill set. So just keep at it, and it'll get even better over time. And I look forward to following your work.
Absolutely. This is certainly not the end of the road in science communication for anybody here, whether you're moving forward to the next round or not. We are all, as we said, very excited to see what's next from everyone here, because you're quite the talented bunch and you gave us all a run for our money today. So good job. Well done.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, judges. We're looking forward to seeing you again at the finals. Thank you very much. And thank you so much to all of you for joining us tonight. And thank you to our sponsors, the National Science Foundation and the Center for Integrated Quantum Materials. We would love to hear your thoughts on this event. So if you would like to tell us what you think, please feel free to fill out a brief survey using the QR code that's up on the screen right now, or you can find the link at mos.org/reachout. We will randomly select 5 online audience members who complete the survey to receive a $50 Amazon gift card. And remember not to miss the big ReachOut Science Slam finals coming up in 2 weeks on May 4th. So you can register now by visiting mos.org/reachout. We look forward to seeing you there, and we look forward to seeing all 4 of our incredible judges at that event and our fantastic slammers. Thank you all again, and have a wonderful evening.